In this production, Return of the Ancestors, written by Mike Van Graan, directed by Zimkitha Kumbaca, I'm an actor alongside Tsepo Bagvito, and I play something around 14 characters in the show. It's a two-hander about imagining what would happen if Steve Biko and Neil Agate were to come back to life and see if the sacrifices that they made during the apartheid era were worth it.
Because Neil,
in the flesh,
Neil Agate,
the doctor,
the trade unionists,
the trade unionists come back to life.
You must have believed in this.
When I was preparing for the role, especially the one of Steve Biko, I was very much obsessed about the fact that I want to get this right. That was my main concern. I just wanted to get it right and wanted to give it my all. I don't like considering myself as someone who's political, but I think another thing that I've learned is that I have a lot of opinions, I have a lot of thoughts that I have, and I do have a lot of sentiments that I have, and I feel like this show kind of like had challenged me to kind of like dig in deeper, and it's inspiring. It's inspiring, and I do feel like, hey, I need to do more. Of it, we need to get up and do more.
No, I'm a Billy man. I need to get it right for my own sanity.
Tsepo, you come back. You are in the play as Steve and Bantu Biko. Come back on a mission from heaven. He needs to report to the ancestors whether whether the struggle was worth it, or whether the promised fruit of liberation has flowered or been borne out. And at some point, your reference is a yellow bone, Steve Biko. Bringing in those terms. But what is your preparation like? Not the physicality, but the embodying of a character who, Zimkitha used the term loaded earlier on, but that has such historical cachet and meaning and significance, and being able to convey that to millennials who may not necessarily, who may not necessarily have access to those stories from even their parents, because we know that intergenerational dialogue does not happen often. And Steve Biko passed away at such an early age. What kind of prep went into your own getting ready for this play?
Steve Biko, I think, remains one of the most challenging characters I've ever played. I think mainly because of what he represents and who he is and what he's known for. Usually you get a character, you go wild with your imagination,
Sure.
but with Steve, this is like a known figure now. So now when you're dealing with this, you have to be very sensitive as to how you approach the character. So after like a couple of discussions with Zimkitha, the director, because I was like getting frustrated, I'm like, hey, I think the consensus that we then, agreed on was the fact that, at the end of the day, we can't try and imitate, because the problem with imitating and mimicking something is that it falls in danger of becoming like a caricature more than you really like getting the soul and essence of what this man represented, So I went through a whole situation of, getting, Charlie to like, yo, I write what I like, man, hook me up, and that has been like my gospel, and I've just been going through that. I remember I couldn't really find like a lot of videos and audios like when I go online, but there was one specific video and audio that I've been watching and listening to over and over again, just to kind of like really understand what this man represented, how his thought process worked, and also through the writing as well. And then from there, obviously, you get to listen to people talk about him, his son, his wife, the family, and everyone that just had something to say about Steve Biko. And I drew from that and kind of like had to find that whole thing within my own honesty and my own reality, and find those nuances and really capitalize on that, and kind of like give the most honest interpretation that I possibly could of this man who to me is like this, you know, figure that's like, wow.
How can I help you?
So much commentary, but in all those characters, there are those points at which we recognize that old woman.
Yeah.
You know, her mannerisms, the way she talks.
Sure.
We recognize that that guy at the robots who's washing windows, and you know, we fall out laughing as the audience, or Sure. We introspect. You know, we keep quiet very, very quickly. At the theater, I go, wow. Maybe I'm actually that guy. I'm actually that woman. Yeah. The prep for you and what this play means for you.
So I think finding representations of each of these characters in the outside world. The cool thing is that now we have social media. So we've got all of these, you know, vignettes and videos, and you've got all of these different representations that are like a snapshot of where we are right now.
Sure.
So a lot of the rehearsal times, we'd spend a lot of time on the script, but we'd sit on a scene and think about what this means for us today. Because the play is originally staged for or written for 2014.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that's happened between then and now.
Maybe too much.
Maybe too much, right?
Actually, that was just too much.
So we had to sort of see, where do we find ourselves within each of these scenes? What is the grounding factor? What is the thing that pulls me in? What is the thing that makes Mama attractive to me? And where do I see Mama in my own life? So that sort of made it real for me, which I think in turn made it real for the audience.
Absolutely.
And then in terms of what the play means for me, I think the two ideas kept surfacing for me. In each scene, you can sort of see the naivete and hypocrisy that each person sort of espouses, right? And there's sort of this thing of, the problem does not need to be solved by me. The problem will be solved by some exterior entity that is going to come and make our situation better.
Sure.
So there's the naivety and the hypocrisy, and then there's the sense of waiting. So you're constantly waiting for something that is on the horizon, something that is over there, something that you can't really touch. And I think it goes back to what Zimkitha was saying, in that all of us sort of feel like it's someone else's job to do this thing. And I think each of these little snapshots prove that everyone is just sitting thinking, someone is going to come and save me, someone is going to come and save me, someone is going to come and save me, but nobody's coming to do that. We have to stand up and pick up our bootstraps.
Of what?
You name it, they die of it. Die of diarrhea, you're hung by hunger, you're raided by rape, you're raped by... Yes, rape! You humans are weird!
What happened to Ubuntu?
Well, you can't have Ubuntu without Abantu. They need you back here, Bantu.
Hi, sir. How are you? What is your name, sir? Tell me, why are people unemployed?
I think it's because they actually gave up on looking for a job.
Yo, thank you. Hi, sir. Hi, how are you? What is your name? Tell me, where can one go to get a tender for supplying protest tires? Well, sunshine, as you have heard for yourself, I am speaking to Wilhelmina Gertrude and Austiniboni, and they are emphasizing that indeed it is true, there are no jobs.